Yeah. With great exultation, I take this privilege of introducing Mr. P.S.N. Murthy, who's having 35 plus years of enriching and diverse experience in development banking, microfinance, MSME, retail lending. Mr. Murthy was the founding team member in setting up Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency, Mudra, a prestigious program of Government of India, a wholly owned subsidiary of SIDBI. He served at Mudra for almost 4+ years. Sir voluntarily retired from the services of Small Industries Development Bank of India in the capacity of Deputy General Manager after putting in 25 years of service. He served in various capacities at Patna, Nagpur, Mumbai, Lucknow, and Hyderabad. Sir is the empaneled professional with National Institute of Rural Development, Hyderabad, and National Institute for MSME, Hyderabad. Sir is having 19 plus years of rich experience in development sector. He is the founder of Lakshita, NGO registered under Indian Trust Act, working since 2003 in the field of education and health. Presently, Sir is providing consulting services in the field of microfinance, financial inclusion, skill entrepreneurship development, financial business, digital literacy, MSME retail lending, NGO management and corporate social responsibility, individual social responsibility. Sir, we at Stella are very happy to have you today, sir. We welcome you to today's session. Over to Josephine, ma'am.
Thank you, Padmaja. Thank you for introducing Sir to me. Sir, I will hand over the time to you. Kindly share your knowledge with all the participants. Thank you, sir. Take over.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Padmaja Garu, for the introduction. And thank you. First of all, let me thank the organizers for organizing this beautiful 3-day online national conference on Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. And I also thank for inviting me to share my views on financial inclusion, unlocking the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. What I'll do, I'll share my PPT, then I'll run through the PPT so that it becomes easier and for you also for understanding the concepts. I have to select present now, Josephine ma'am.
Sir, you have to select entire screen. The box is there, no?
Yeah, entire screen. Okay.
Then you can go to your entire screen there. First select the box, then your entire screen.
Okay.
Then share. Yes.
But my PPT should reflect, no? Yeah.
Samhita is yes.
You are able to see my PPT? No.
No, sir. Then select the PPT. After share, you select the PPT. Yes.
Now it's okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible and visible.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Once again, thank you to one and all. And today I will be sharing my views on how important this financial inclusion for unlocking the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. Because when we talk about Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath, we are telling that it is the local, we have to empower the local entrepreneurs. In that connection, how this financial inclusion is going to help and unlock the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. This is what I shall be touching upon during my session. I think my time given for me is 1 hour. During that, I'll be touching up. Yeah. Is it okay? 1 hour?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Done. And sorry. In brief, I'll tell what is Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. I don't want to touch in detail because people are very much familiar for the last 3 days. I think everyone are talking about what is Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath and why Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath also I'll touch upon in brief. Then thereafter, why and how financial inclusion and informal sector, because informal sector is going to play a big role when we talk about the Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. Will unlock the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. Then I'll touch upon the initiatives taken by Government of India under financial inclusion space, and I'll touch upon few topics which are very, very important when we talk about Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath, which are digital financial inclusion, then digital financial literacy. Financial literacy is going to play a big role because we are bringing a lot of schemes. Digital space is being playing a big role where when we talk about this segment of the population, definitely financial literacy, hand-holding education is very, very important. And digital entrepreneurship, yes, this is also going to play a big role. And the progress made by under this and the hurdles we face and we are facing, and also the road ahead for us. And I also want to touch upon the importance of informal sector, why we are going to touch upon talking about informal sector, what are the challenges they are facing, how this informal sector is going to play a big role in achieving the agenda or the vision, and the initiatives taken by Government of India, and a few very, very important schemes launched by the government for the benefit of this sector. And the conclusion, finally conclusion, and the total slides will be 42, but don't worry, it won't be a big one. I'll run through it, and I'm very confident that I'll be able to cover this within 1 year, and I won't be boring you also. Yeah. What does Aaatma Nirbhar mean? As we all know, the literal meaning, literal translation is self-reliance. And this has become very important and gained importance after the COVID. And Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath Abhiyan, as we all know, Self-Reliant India Mission is a campaign launched by Central Government of India, more specifically after the COVID pandemic, March 20, after that pandemic has hit the world. Government of India has come out with this Aaatma Nirbhar Bharat, under which they have announced various economic stimulus packages, and also several reform proposals were also put in for the benefit of the entire economy. Now, this is, you people are very much aware, while the world was grappling with various challenges post-COVID, but the story was different when it came to India, because India has demonstrated very strongly that it rises to the challenges and uncovers the opportunities therein, because we tried to see what are the opportunities hidden for us. That was the main agenda for the Government of India. That's why we raised to the challenges, and we saw there are huge number of opportunities available for us. Instead of yielding to these unprecedented times, as was done by the world, but India was quite different. India aimed to research the economy by becoming a self-reliant Aaatma Nirbhar Bharat. That is what we did it. That's why if you look at today, the entire world, when other economies are reeling under pressure and facing with a lot of challenges, the story of India is quite different. But the important aspect is you have to see the idea is not to cut off from the rest of the world. That is not the intention, but instead to adopt to an integrated approach. That is the main objective, to empower its citizens, because who are always at the receiving end of such crisis. This is the main objective of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharat. I think I am audible and I am okay with my speech. You people are able to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. When we talk about that one, how this is possible? This is possible only when we reach out to every single individual. This is very important. When we reach out to every single individual in every section of the society, then only we will be able to achieve this vision. When we talk about reaching out to every single individual, means I am talking about the inclusive approach. That is what the approach we have to adopt. That inclusive approach is the mantra for success of this Aaatma Nirbhar Bharat. Further, the overarching vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharat, as we all know, envisages self-reliant economic development, and the very buzz phrases which we keep on hearing are vocal for local, and the other one is make for the world approaches. This is what very important, vocal for local. When we talk about vocal for local, the informal sector comes into the picture in a big way, and make for the world approaches. And when we talk about India's vast informal sector, because this is going to play an instrumental and decisive and integral role in this vision. That's what we keep on hearing, and we see that this is a sector which is contributing in a big way to the economy, and more particularly to the export sector. But the sector, when we look at the sector in its current form, I'm talking about in its current form, appears severely constrained to harness the opportunities, because they face a lot of problems. They don't have the capital, they don't have the technology, they don't have the second line of management, and they are very, very unorganized. Because many issues are there. With this current form, it becomes very difficult to tap the opportunities. What we have to do, we have to equip them, we have to educate them, we have to handhold them through the entire journey. Then only it makes sense. Then only we can talk about vocal for local. Then only it makes good, and we will be able to achieve this agenda or whatever the Government of India is aiming for. When we talk about the one which we had just discussed till now, not to cut off from the rest of the world, adopt an integrated approach to empower its citizens, only possible when we reach out to every single individual and every section in the society, vocal for local, make for the world approaches. And when we talk about the informal sector is poised to play an instrumental decisive role, the next question comes how we are going to achieve this. Is financial inclusion going to assume a great significance? Is financial inclusion going to assume a great significance in unlocking the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath? Let us see whether how far it is true, is it true, and in what way this financial inclusion is going to help us. Let's discuss. In the above context, how important is the financial inclusion agenda of the Government of India, and more importantly, digital? Because when I talk about the financial inclusion now, focus, emphasize on digital. Digital is the mantra, digital. When I talk about the financial inclusion, I will talk about digital financial inclusion. When I talk about the financial literacy, I'll touch upon digital financial literacy and entrepreneurship definitely. Again, it will be digital entrepreneurship in unlocking the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. What is the achievement till now? It is not that Government of India has not done anything under this space. Government of India has done has taken a lot of initiatives. Other stakeholders also put in a lot of measures, including the regulator, Reserve Bank of India. What are the achievements till date, and what are the hurdles we have to overcome, and what is the road ahead for us under this space? This is what very important. Until unless we won't achieve this, we won't address this, and we won't have a clear-cut plan, it becomes very, very difficult to achieve the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. Then the role of informal sector, this is again important. Apart from financial inclusion, the other important aspect is the role of informal sector, challenges being faced by the sector, and the road ahead for the sector in unlocking the vision. This is what we are going to discuss, touch upon, and any one-to-one question answer sessions are there. In case, I will be happy to answer the questions first. If you look at it, because I told that it is not that Government of India has not taken any initiatives, the Government of India has made several strides in this space, and as you are aware, and everyone is well aware about the very important yojana, that is Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which is said to be the biggest financial inclusion initiatives in the world. And this yojana ensures, as we all know, ensures a wide range of financial services, which includes opening of bank account, basic savings account, and access to other financial services like credit availability, remittances, then insurance, the very important aspect, and the pension. These are the financial services which are being provided by Government of India under this yojana. And when we talk about this yojana, because we keep on hearing 7 years, 8 years, it has completed, and it has touched, we have created more than 50 crores accounts. But there are many issues to be debated and discussed in this. Though these accounts are mainly operated during even COVID also for transferring the direct benefit transfers, that was for that purpose these accounts were mainly utilized. And we keep on hearing that there are many accounts which are dormant, not being used. There is no balance at all. Many accounts were opened, and credit facilities are not being utilized as was envisaged. When it comes to insurance also, no proper awareness was created or handholding support was created. Like that, many drawbacks are there, which I think once the stakeholders and institutions, education institutions, other stakeholders, they have to take a lead and they have to handle these borrowers in availing the benefits of this yojana. Similarly, we have many other schemes like Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana, then we have Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. This is very, very beautiful scheme where there are two insurance policies are there. I want to share my experience. Whenever I travel in Uber, Ola, or Auto, I keep on asking this driver. My experience is there, more than 95% of these drivers, auto drivers or Ola, Uber, they are not at all aware about this scheme. They are not availed any scheme. You see the beauty of the scheme, but there is a lack of awareness, lack of educating the borrowers. It is not happening. That's why many of the intended borrowers who are supposed to be covered under this have not been covered. Like this PM Street Vendors scheme, this has been recently launched during this COVID for the benefit of street vendors. This is also a beautiful scheme. A lot of awareness, a lot of educational programs are required for passing on this benefit to the right persons. These are the few initiatives taken by Government of India in the segment of the borrowers. That's why financial inclusion is the process of ensuring access to appropriate financial products and services. needed by all sections of the society in general and vulnerable groups such as weaker sections and low-income groups in particular at an affordable cost in a fair and transparent manner by mainstream institutional players. Now, this is the financial inclusion. How it is different from digital financial inclusion? Digital financial inclusion can be defined as a digital access. Now, and use of formal financial services by excluded and underserved population. This is digital access, sitting at one place, sitting at a remote place. No need to go to a branch. Sitting at one place, the person, he or she, should be in a position to access the financial services at a click of a button. That is the main objective of digital financial inclusion. Such services should be suited to the customer's need and delivered responsibly at a cost both affordable to customers and sustainable. It takes time. You have to, that is the mindset, because they are more comfortable, because the cash is in hand. They know how much cash you have. If you tell something is in their account, they don't trust you. If transferring the money also, it becomes very difficult. That's why low literacy and distrust, these are the main challenge which we have to overcome. And yes, a lot of measures are being taken. They are educating the borrowers. Financial literacy, digital financial literacy workshops are being conducted. A lot of progress has made in this direction. The other one is cyber attacks, loss of trust and confidence. This keeps on happening because they are new to it. They are not able to operate the mobile properly. Even this PIN number also, they are more comfortable in writing the PIN and keeping in the pocket, or they keeping the slip along with the mobile. This is happening, and this will lead to cyber people misusing it like that. And impact of financial education programs, because see what has happened, it has been found that financial education programs, that when we focus only on imparting knowledge, rarely in classic examples are before us, and most probably 100% of people are making use of Zomato, Ola, Uber, whatnot, Rapido, then Porter. All these are digital entrepreneurs. There is no physical space, physical offices as such. The Uber, Ola, whether you have seen any offices as such, right? But with the help of technology, these people are making big gains. They are creating so much employment. People are working. People are they are getting the payments. Everything is digital. That's the examples of cases when we talk about digital entrepreneurship. Climate, weather, because you get an update of climate, then you get the Google Maps also in case you want to reach one destination from one destination. It has become so easy nowadays. No need to take the help of others. Crops and soils, you know when the weather is coming, what type of soil you have to use, what type of fertilizers you have to use, seeds you have to use. Road traffic conditions is being updated on every minute. You are getting the updated traffic conditions. Develop services and apps that elevate local problems. Be it the optimal agriculture production, emergency and disaster relief response, road safety and accident avoidance. Many such cases are there. If you talk about the digital entrepreneurship opportunities, these are the opportunities which are available for digital. Definitely, when we talk about the opportunities, it is always prone to issues also, challenges. The main barriers when we talk about the digital entrepreneurship appear to include skills, infrastructure, because the guy may be good at his work, but he should also be having a similar skills, talent, everything with regard to the IT or digital aspect. He should have the skills, infrastructure, and various aspects of the business environment. And this we are seeing in many parts of the world. Access to affordable, reliable, high-speed broadband infrastructure is still a problem, including in parts of the developed countries also. Yes, that is what we are also seeing. Even in developed metros also, if you go to the remote places, you still have this high-speed broadband infrastructure is a problem. That's why this issue has to be tackled. Government of India is looking to this. Now we are seeing 5G, 6G. With the advent of all these things, I think these issues are also being tackled and resolved. It is also important to create a dynamic and competitive digital business environment and address concerns around digital entrepreneurship conditions in order to enable the creation of online services and applications. These are the issues. Okay, these are the issues which in the long run definitely will be addressed, and slowly a lot of progress and inroads are being made, and in the days to come definitely these issues will be of a big challenge. The other important aspect when we talk about the digital entrepreneurship is the emergence of cloud computing. This is changing a lot. Cloud computing over the past decade has reduced barriers to entry and increased opportunities for digital entrepreneurs. Because I think people may be aware about what is cloud computing, what are the advantages, how it is helping the entrepreneurs, because it gives a lot of opportunities. Cloud computing offers several benefits. No need to invest in dedicated hardware and software infrastructure. If I want to set up an office from home, I can run the show. For me, no need to purchase my server, no need to have my dedicated hardware and software. I can hire it. I can take, I can hire this space, everything under the cloud computing technology. What happens with that? No need to have a space for having the hardware. No need to have the maintenance for that. No need to employ people for maintaining it. AMC, all these headaches are gone. And provides as much capacity as needed on demand. Whenever there is a demand, you can increase your capacity. Whenever there is no demand, you can reduce your capacity. Where only the amount of resources used is paid for. Makes new services globally accessible by default, reduces cost to buy equipment, software, all these things we have discussed. Greatly helped startups and small firms who might otherwise not have been able to afford it. But these are the things we are talking, but what is happening, what we did, what we are supposed to do is a big challenge for achieving this financial inclusion. A few more disadvantages of cloud computing enable digital entrepreneurship to more effectively utilize capital, manage cost, everything. You can effectively manage resources without worrying about the hardware and software and the maintenance, everything. In addition, firms now routinely today expose their business processes and functions to the outside world through cloud-based interfaces. In a very real sense, business processes and even whole business are becoming digitally service platforms built on the cloud. Because cloud is going to change the way the office used to be earlier, the infrastructure, the manpower used to engage, all things will be gone. They are already gone. No need to worry. Only you have to have one laptop. That's all. With the help of a laptop, you can run your show. Digital technologies offer tremendous growth opportunities, which we already discussed, but you should have that skills and talent, all those things you should have, apart from your entrepreneurship skills. But require entrepreneurs to fully unlock their economic potential. New businesses are an enabler of the transformation of already established firms. Cloud computing dramatically reduces technical and investment barriers to bringing new digital products and services to the market. With the help of one laptop, you can do wonders. Greater emphasis must be placed on creating the right environmental conditions, including skills, business cycles, regulations, infrastructure, and access to capital. Very important. And ensuring affordable, reliable, safe, and high-speed access to the technology. These are the things which you have to take, and in the days to come, already digital technology, digital entrepreneurship are making wonders. Startups, you can look at the startups, the way they function, the way they expand, which is taking place with the help of only digital. Digital is the mantra. Now, what we have seen is the financial inclusion, how important it is. We have touched upon the digital financial inclusion, digital financial literacy, which is very, very important to take care of all this digital financial inclusion, digital entrepreneurship, everything. Now, because that is one aspect we thought is going to play a big role in unlocking the Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath vision. The other important sector which is going to play a big role is informal sector. And in India, if you see, there is a huge, this informal sector is very, very big. And unfortunately, this informal sector is unorganized. Let us see what is this informal sector, how it is contributing, what are the challenges. To look at the informal sector in India, the size of India's informal sector is huge, and so is the extent of diversity there. You can see, everyone can see the informal sector. Once you go onto the road, you can see n number of units are there. You'll be seeing, and they work in a very unorganized way. And it accounts for, but see the contribution, how much they contribute to the economy. It accounts for about 50% of gross value added. And a major share is in the export basket. This is the contribution. When this is the contribution, and such is the sector, huge sector, definitely one has to take various measures and has to see how to bring them into an organized sector. That's what Government of India is doing. A lot of schemes, a lot of measures are being put in place. But the important aspect is, again, you have to handhold them. You should handhold them throughout their entire journey. Then only what happens, then only they will be able to contribute in a big way. They will be able to meet the challenges. They will be able to meet the demand and the competition globally. Then only they will be able to. Otherwise, they won't be able to meet this competition. This position confers the sector with growth opportunities. See, there are growth opportunities emanating from domestic as well external sources. A large portion of prospective demand from the Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath is bound to trickle down. This is already happening, and it is bound to trickle down to the informal sector, either directly or indirectly. However, when we are talking about the good things about this sector, the opportunities available, however, this informal sector is plagued with various constraints. Most firms are micro and small and deploy little capital. These are very, very micro. They don't have the capital. They don't have the cash flows. They are heavily dependent on the orders, and once they execute the orders only, they are getting the money. They are not able to rotate the cash flows very effectively to run their business. They are heavily dependent on the informal financial institutions. They are not they are not easily getting any financial assistance from the formal lending institutions. That we know what are the reasons. They don't have the history. They don't have the track record. All these things are creating a problem for them. They have a small size of production, substandard, unbranded quality of products, localized scope of procuring raw material, and many things are there. These are the reasons that they are not able to make good of their available resources or available system. They are vulnerable to business downturns and other market uncertainties as reflected in high mortality. Whenever there's something, count on the count goes on. There is no end for it. Informal sector, now Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath is throwing a lot of promises and a lot of scope is there. Now Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath promises enhanced demand for domestically produced goods and services. Yes, when such opportunity is there, definitely this sector should rise to the occasion and meet the demand and take the grab this opportunity. But the exposure to stiff global competition, especially for informal sector, is imminent. Goods and services produced in the informal sector must conform to the global standard. This is important. Then only they will be able to export their products and meet the global standards. If not, exceed them and at a competitive pricing. Given the situation, the sector must embrace for transformation. To address the above, the government of India has taken several measures. Yes, these are the problems. Still, the problems continues. But time and again, for quite some time, the government of India has taken a lot of measures to meet the demand of the informal sector, to help them with the capital requirement, to help them marketing their products. Online, they can market their products, creating the market space for them, creating the he-heart like that facilities are being provided. And they are providing space in different national, international exhibitions by giving the space for displaying their products. Like that, there are a lot of measures taken by government of India. Even the financial institutions, banks, they have come out with a lot of schemes at subsidized rate of interest with collateral-free loans. All these things have been provided for this segment. This is informal sector. Yes. Such schemes are there, but what is happening is the benefit is being taken by this informal sector, but not to a great extent. Again, there the main issue comes financial inclusion. Bring them, tell them, aware them. Most of the people are not aware whom to approach, how to submit an application, how to submit the documents, how to create the historical data. This is very, very important. What happens, for example, I'll tell you, if a carpenter is working with you for the last 25 years, but generally what happens, he deals indirectly in cash. There is no order placed by us. There is no order executed. There is no bill given by them. He executes the work and we give the cash. Though he's into the service for 25 years, but when he goes to a bank for availing their loan, when the bank asks you are in a business for 25 years, can you show the track record or proof? Unfortunately, that guy is not in position to provide. That's why the government and other stakeholders are doing. They are educating them. They are encouraging them to create historical data. They are asking them to deal in only digital transactions, make your payments digitally, accept the payments digitally, create record. Then what happens in the days to come when you go to the bank based on the historical data, the banks will be in a position to say, yes, you are eligible for so much amount. This is what the vision of government of India. In days to come, they want a faceless disbursement. They don't want to see the borrower. Based on the rating itself, the bank should be in a position to disburse the amount. That's what the vision of government of India, that's what they want to see. Just I want to touch few initiatives which Government of India has taken and which I think all the stakeholders should propagate in a big way, so that this informal sector, the units who are in the unorganized sector, they take advantage, they avail the benefits of these schemes. This is Mudra Micro Units Development and Refinancing Agency. There is Mudra Yojana. I think people may be aware. It is a prestigious scheme of Government of India, which was launched in 2015 with the objective of providing loans to this unorganized sector. There is micro units, loans up to 10 lakhs. That was the objective. And majority of these units are informal sources. They use their own funds. And the main objective of this yojana is reaching the unreached, unbanked areas, because creating last mile freight delivery. Micro business, whoever is in the remote areas, they should be in a position to get the loan to expand, diversify, enhance his existing business, or for setting up of new business. To bridge the gap in the last mile financing or partnership basis, funding the unfunded. This was the motto: funding the unfunded. If you see, as I told, there were n number of institutions in place, but over a period of time, if you see, there is a neglected segment. 1 lakh to 10 lakhs is the neglected segment. This is the segment which was not touched upon by any lending institutions over a period of time. Now things have changed slowly. This segment also is being taken care by many stakeholders, including commercial banks, private sector banks, even financial institutions are also reaching to this segment. Funding the funded and formalizing the informal. Now, the objective of this scheme is to formalize the informal segment. Now, we don't want to hear that word informal. We want to formalize them. We want to bring them into the mainstream of lending. Now, they should be in a position to avail the benefits, avail the schemes, avail the lending schemes available from the mainstream lending institutions. That is the objective of Mudra Yojana. In that, the Mudra Yojana, the Yojana is Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. As I told you, the loans up to 10 lakhs are covered under this issue. For a small entrepreneurs, a beauty parlor or a kite making unit, they can avail the loan up to 50,000. Any loans from 50,000 to 5 lakhs is Kishore, and above 5 lakhs is to 10 lakhs is Tarun. These are the schemes available in Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. These schemes are available to all the banks, and all the banks have done a very good this lending under this segment. If you look at the statistics, the huge lending has been done, but still a lot of youths are away from. They are not brought under this segment. That's why a lot of focus and handholding in education is required. Awareness is required for creating awareness among this informal sector, so that they can also avail the benefit under this Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. And this is available for all non-farm sector income generating. Any income generating activity can be covered under this Yojana. Even financing of two-wheelers for commercial purposes like Zomato, for all these things, two-wheelers also are eligible to this Yojana. The other important scheme, I think people will be aware of, the Prime Minister's State Vendors Aaatma Nirbhar Nidhi. That is a scheme, PM Swanidhi Yojana. This is a scheme was launched during COVID pandemic. The scheme is a central sector scheme which is fully funded by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And the main objective is to facilitate working capital loan up to 10,000. Street vendors, if you see, there are many street vendors. The moment you step out, you will see the vegetable vendors, fruit vendors, pani puri wala, then chai wala, doodh wala, newspaper vendors, raddi wala. Many vendors are there. What happened due to COVID, due to lockdown and restrictions put in by the central and state government, what happened, the livelihoods of these people, they have lost the livelihoods. They have lost a lot of business. Many people have migrated to their native places. Once the situation was back to normal and things were improving, these people started coming back. But what happened, due to the loss of business, they were not in a position to carry on their business, because they want capital and they lost everything. The money which they were having, they made use for going back to the villages and survival during the lockdown period. Then government thought that we should help these street vendors by providing capital, working capital to the tune of 10,000, which has been enhanced again. Those who have successfully repaid, they can avail another 10,000. That is the latest scheme. And another important aspect of this scheme is to incentivize regular repayment. In case they are in their regular, the interest will be given back to them, and to reward digital transactions. In case the these state vendors, if they are making use of digital transactions, government told you should reward them. So this is one. And this scheme will help formalize the state vendors with above object and will open new opportunities to this sector to improve the economic, to move up the economic ladder. This has given, the scheme was a huge success. Many street vendors have availed the facility under this. Of course, any scheme is prone to some misuse also. That is definitely that we have to overcome. I did my thesis paper on this. A lot of interesting facts have come out of this. Many people got benefited, and majority of the people, they used this digital transactions for selling their products and receiving the cash through digitally. What happened? There is a dual purpose. They got the money, they got the business, they were able to enhance their business, and parallelly, simultaneously, they were able to create the historical data, which helped the bank again to lend them further another 10,000. This was the peak of this scheme. This has helped in a big way with the street vendors, and it is still, the scheme has been extended for further period of time. And there are other digital solutions which SIDBI has put in place to help this informal sector also, like Stand Up India, where loans between 10 lakhs to 1 crore can be given on SC/ST borrowers. Like that, digital solutions. Why I'm talking about SIDBI, because I'm from SIDBI, that I thought I should touch upon a few digital solutions which have been thrown open by these financial lending institutions for the benefit of this sector, that is MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises. Stand Up Mitra is one scheme. Then Anthem Mitra is one portal wherein SIDBI, what it did is for providing access, the loan can be availed by sitting at a home by cafe button. Like the SIDBI Startup Mitra, again, this is a digital initiative that addresses the gaps in startup ecosystem. In case any requirement is there, they can sit at home, and by with the help of this platform, they can avail the assistance. And Small B is the website where virtual mentor and handholding forum is available for budding entrepreneurs. In case there is an entrepreneur, if he's set up a unit and if he's facing any problem, what he can do, he can log in there and he can seek the help of a mentor, and that mentor will be available to him throughout his journey. In case if he faces any problem, how to approach a bank, how to repay the loan, in case he is finding it difficult to run his unit, if he wants some extension or restructuring everything, he can take the help of a mentor. Virtual mentor is available to him. Thereby, so that he can be happy and he can concentrate on the business. Other aspects are being taken care by the mentor. And this is a PSB loans in 59 minutes. There is another big initiative taken by the commercial banks together, and it's a marketplace. In case if he or she wants any loan, he can simply log on to this website. He can submit his requirement. The loan application will travel to the marketplace, and the marketplace, there will be n number of all the lenders will be available. The lender will pick that application, he will process it, and if he is convinced with it, he will communicate to the borrower. And the borrower can go to the nearest bank branch and he can submit the documents, and he can get the sanction, he can avail the disbursement dates. What is happening under this? For him, no need to go to n number of branches and tell about his product, and he has to wait whether that bank is interested or not. Sitting at home, without wasting time, he can submit his information and he can wait for some time. Within 59 minutes, he will get a confirmation from one bank stating that, yes, I am interested. You can approach our nearest bank with all the documents, and we can process it and submit disburse the amount. And what happens is it reduces the turnaround time for in-principle approval from days to less than. Earlier, what happens, they have to keep on visiting the branch to know what is the status of the application. Now nothing. In 59 minutes, we'll come to yes or no. Integrates multiple service providers, leverages growing digital data footprints. Then contactless journey, where a borrower is not required to visit bank branch for in-principle approval. These are all the initiatives taken by Government of India, the other stakeholders to take care of the requirement of the informal sector. Now these schemes are there, these measures are there, but what the next course is, now you have to create awareness, you have to educate them, you have to handle them, you have to tell, here is a scheme, go there, avail them, take them, and you have to help them in providing all the required documents. These are a few initiatives taken by Government of India for this MSME segment. web-based application. Once you submit the application, you can track online what is the status of your application under various schemes of the ministry, like that MSME, someone is there. In case Government of India wants to procure, there is a stipulation that some percentage of the material should be taken from MSMEs. With this, you can track and you can avail this benefit of this Yojana. MSME Samadhan resolves any issues, delayed payments are there, you can track your applications. Everything we have click of a button, no need to run here and there, follow up with all the stakeholders or all the government agencies. Udyog Aadhaar Memorandum mobile friendly application for registration. Now it is a one page, nothing. You have to self-declaration basis, you will get the Udyog Aadhaar Memorandum, which was not the earlier case. Then adoption of new age technologies. If you look at the introduction of initiatives like now what is happening, the banks, everybody is sitting at from their bank itself, they are doing the video KYC, Aadhaar based KYC, everything is being taken care for better due diligence. It also helps to understand potential credit risk also. What are the risks, and makes the faster credit decisions also. Data can be best used to offer customized products. Based on the KYC, everything, the banks will be, the lending institutions will be in a position to tell the customer what are the best products we can offer for you. And artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data analytics to collect and analyze more comprehensive and accurate credit risk. This is changing a lot. Now, the recent few fintech companies are also seeing how active the guy is on WhatsApp, how active the guy is in Facebook. So that they are able to see what is his reach, what is his social segment, how socializing he is. All these things are also they are taking into consideration while assessing the credit history of the borrower, and they are making the products and they are lending it. This is also happening. In the days to come, this is going to change in a big way. Digital payments. Digital payment is the most common instruments now. During digital COVID, we have seen how digital payments are taking place. Now everybody is talking digital. All the payments are being digital. Even if you go to a tea vendor, after having tea also, you are paying 10 rupees by way of digital payments. GPay, Paytm, Phone Pay, like that, vegetables, everything. You purchase 2 rupees or something also, everything is being paid, everything is digitalized. With this, what is happening? The guy, tea vendor or vegetable vendor, he is creating digital footprints so that the bank will know how much business he is doing. Based on his cash flows, based on his transactions, everything, bank will be in a position to easily lend, further lending to this segment of the borrowers. So that what is the transaction history is being created, his history is being created, so that he is being brought to the mainstream lending, so that he can grow in a faster way. Economically he will become very strong. And you all know that India has overtaken all the big leaders in digital payments. That is the latest this one. It is a huge raise and demand for such payments. Yes, this is the conclusion. I think this is my last slide. I think I need time. You see, Government of India and other stakeholders have already taken various initiatives and measures for promoting financial inclusion that we have seen and people are aware. Now, what is required is, in my opinion, a big push is required so that the benefits of various schemes already put in place are availed by the beneficiaries for intended purpose. This is very important. For this purpose, what we have to do, we have to create awareness and handholding support by way of financial business literacy programs is the need of the hour. This is very, very important. All stakeholders, including education institutions like yours, should take a big lead in this. Then only we will be able to educate the borrowers. We can bring this informal, unorganized sector to the mainstream so that they can contribute to the economy in a big way, and you can fulfill the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath of 5 trillion. That is what the Government of India is looking. Until you won't do these things, it becomes very difficult. Because as I said, you should take everyone together. Then only you will be able to achieve this one. To conclude, creating awareness, educating and handholding throughout the journey are very important for success of any scheme. It is very important because if you feel few schemes are still lagging behind, until unless you won't do this, you won't be able to derive the benefits of this one, which in turn will help in unlocking the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. This is what I thought I should share my views when you people approached me and they said that there is a national conference on Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath relation of $5 trillion. Then I thought, for me, this is what important. I thought until unless you won't pursue this financial inclusion, I think the Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath agenda will remain unfulfilled. Thank you very much. With this, I end my session. Thank you very much for having a patient hearing. And if time permits, we can take question and answer session. Otherwise, you can explain.
Thank you, sir. Now the floor is open for queries. Ask, sir. Any questions?
Josephine,
Ma'am.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
With the help of sir, we can have a drive at Stella called a financial inclusion drive amongst the students with General Yojana, PMKDY and PMSDY. Sir, good afternoon. Murthy sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, Paulina. Yes. Yeah, this is a good idea. Yes. Surface proceed. Thank you, madam.
So thank you, sir, for enlightening us and detailing about the financial inclusion to unlock the vision of Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath. You explained about initiatives taken by the government of India, financial literacy, financial inclusion, digital entrepreneurship, and also importance of the informal sector. The approach what we have to take is integrated importance of the integration approach for the empowerment of the every citizen in India. And also you gave about all the schemes that are introduced by the government of India, and also you explained about digital financial inclusions, benefits of the digital financial inclusions, and also digital literacy and the impact of digital entrepreneurship and digital entrepreneurship and opportunities also explained. And finally, in the informal sector, you have explained about Mudra and all the other schemes and IT initiatives in the government of India. So as you said, a big push is required, especially to get the benefits whatever the government of India should get. Thank you very much, sir, for spending your time and also sharing your knowledge. I thank you for from the management and the staff of Stella College, Vijayawada. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Namaste. Now we will move on to the next session, the last session of the 3-day national conference. The next speaker is Dr. A. Bhavani from Laila Academy, Second Now I request P.V. Sridevi ma'am, Head Department of TTM, to introduce Bhavani ma'am to the gathering. Over to you, Sridevi ma'am.
Hello, Bhavani. Hi.
Hi, Sridevi.
I am very pleased to introduce Bhavani, my friend. In Central University, as research scholars, we had a lot of discussions. As a social scientist, a different department. I am from the Department of History, and she is from Economics. Almost all the social scientists over there are very busy, engaged in discussing about various aspects. Now I just give a brief introduction to Bhavani. She has been teaching different economic courses for postgraduate students of economics and management studies for 27 years, presented and published research papers on gender issues, labor participation, wage rates of male and female laborers, financial inclusion, cropping pattern, etc., and developed teaching cases in economics. Some of them got published. As part of the job at Center for Entrepreneurship Development and Financial Inclusion, National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayat Raj, Hyderabad, she worked on research projects titled Impact Evaluation of Financial Inclusion Programs of UPASAC in Uttarakhand, Srinidhi, a digital innovation in Indian microfinance sector, and an evaluation of ease of access to finance by MSEs, an empirical study in India. As one of the resource persons for the in-house national and international training programs conducted by CEDFI, NIRDPR, and in collaboration with other agencies like Center for International Cooperation and Training in Agricultural Banking. Part of the organizing team conducted by seminars, webinars on themes Srinidhi, a digital innovation in Indian microfinance sector funded by NABARD, and access to finance by MSCs funded by SIDBI. Her teaching and research experience: she worked as a project consultant, National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayat Raj, NIRDPR, Hyderabad during May 2019 to 2021. Worked at Symbiosis Law School, XIME Bangalore, Shiv Shivani Institute of Management, Secunderabad, and Stella College. Her selected accomplishments are: she contributed as an author of Andhra Pradesh Open School Society, Government of Andhra Pradesh in the development of study material for economics. 5 books are published. One of the authors of the course materials of Macroeconomics for MA Economics, correspondence course edited by Professor C.S.N. Raju. She received reward for meritorious teaching from Stella College, Vijayawada in the year 1999. She has been a resource person in the production of educational video programs on Indian economy for Educational Multimedia Research Center, EMRC, instituted by UGC, Osmania University. This was telecasted through Doordarshan and UGC's 24 Hours Higher Education Vyas channel. As she has been resource person, panel member, chair for the session of seminars and workshops at different colleges. To mention a few: OUPG College, Secunderabad, Anurag Group of Institutions, Hyderabad, New Horizon College, Bangalore, Aurora PG College, and Maristella College. She initiated the corporate social responsibility wing, that is Sangi Bhav, at the Shiv Shivani Institute of Management. She has put efforts to bring the corporate students to partner in CSR, where corporate provides monetary support and students human resources. Connecting people with...
First of all, thank you very much, C.S.N. Raju sir, for being for participating in the seminar. Thank you very much. As I told you, I wish this particular session, whatever I'm talking about, is converted into a research project, if at all possible. Okay, for that, before I start my session inputs, Namaste, sir. Namaste, sir. Before I start, I want a particular video of Chidambaram to be played. Okay. I think there is a problem in the audio. The numbers in terms of, as you can even browse in the, YouTube and such things, that Chidambaram schooled Nirmala Sitharaman. So what he says is that it's very natural process for that. Audible? Because Josephine has sent a message saying no audio. I think internet, there is some internet issue at Maristella. Okay. So, Josephine, if you can play it now, please. It's only 2 minutes. It's okay. It's not getting, audio is not coming. Leave it. So what he says is that it's simple compounding, and every 4 or 5 years, each and every time also it gets doubled. If at all, if the nominal growth is around 11 to 12%. Okay. So it's no big thing. So for that reason, I'm going to start my session from that. And maybe now, as that particular video is not being played properly, I have sent another audio. It's a Sri written song. That song is written. I'm not very familiar with the movies. For that reason, it is taking little time. Just a moment. I'll talk about that particular movie and song. I'll play for you. Even Chidambaram's also, maybe I can do it as I have shared it with Josephine. This particular song. Thank you so much. Maybe I must have made you wait, otherwise got irritated with it's not getting played well and all that. What I wanted to say is, on the one hand, Chidambaram is telling 5 trillion economy is not something very great. And whereas on the other side, this is a song written by Sri in 50 years back. The problems, whatever he was talking about in terms of Akasannante Dharalu, that is heavy inflation and unemployment, corruption, the very bad condition of the economy. And he wanted us to build a Samasamajam, equity. So even the topic of my presentation is that one only. Okay. Josephine, will you please entire screen best for video? Will you present it?
PPT, no, I am presenting.
So the topic of the topic for my session is sustainable growth is impossible without equity. Please go to the next slide, Josephine. So 5 trillion economy, I was talking about that Chidambaram and all that. I'm not talking about the 5 trillion economy because it's not a bigger dream. What I'm looking at is sustainable growth. The situation did not change much, as I was talking about. and how to achieve this consistently good growth rate or sustain the growth rate. This is the topic I'm talking about. As sustainable growth is very much self-explanatory, my focus is on equity and equality. Next slide, please. There is a difference between equity and equality. Okay, equity refers to fairness and justice. It recognizes the imbalances and allows adjustments for better outcomes benefiting everyone. There is a small picture I have taken from the internet. So that is the difference between equity and equality. In the equality, everyone is given the same thing, whether it is sufficient for them or not, whether it is required for them or not. But whereas under equity, as per the condition, it is being given. I have taken this particular slide, a photo from internet only, not a big thing in terms of the next slide, please. So you should not mistake me as soon as I am talking about equity and equality. You should not consider me that I am a communist. Otherwise, I'm a human rights activist. Of course, I'm for human rights. That's a different issue. But whereas I'm talking only from the economy and as an economist. In other words, I believe that India needs equity, not for justice, but for sustainable growth. My macroeconomics teacher, whatever I have learned in Nagarjuna University, it's specially because of C.S. and Razu sir. I'm a very, my guru. Because of him, I have learned a lot. And even now, for many years, I have taught macroeconomics for all the students, and I enjoyed teaching macroeconomics, and my students enjoyed my classes. All that due to Razu sir. So here I wish to remind you that the concept of Keynesian consumption function and multiplier. For that reason only, I requested Raju sir to be part of it, so that maybe I'm missing some clarity. What are the variables we will take it, and how do we conduct this research study? That's the ideas are. So multiplier impact is limited by propensity to consume. All of you know it very, very well. Majority of your economics teachers here, all of you know it very well. High income, the people who have higher income, they have lower propensity to consume. You and me, all of us, we spend maybe maximum of 10 to 20% on food. Okay, other things, and we may be saving around 30 to 40%, and some of us maybe more than that we might be saving. So I'm considering, as per the Indian average, I consider all of you, whoever are on the internet, browsing this, otherwise looking at this webinar as high income group. I all the time tell my students, you and me are not laymen. You and me are the creamy layer of the country, because take the educational qualification or take the incomes, average incomes, we are the elite of the country. We are not the common men of this country. We are very, we are top 2% might be. Okay, if not top 5%, definitely. Top 2%, I feel. Okay, so high income, the propensity to consume is low. And for the low income people, though the propensity to consume is very, very high, their incomes are low. So in total, the consumption in the economy is very, very less. Circular flow of economic activity, every one of us know it. One man's expenditure is another man's income. Rich is not spending because their needs are met. Poor are not able to spend because their incomes are low. So at this level, inequalities of income the high inequalities of income has a negative impact on making the multiplier work and make the economy reach the sustained growth. Because we have grown at two-digit level only for 2 quarters. 8 to 9% GDP growth rate was only for few years. Later, it's very, very lesser growth rates only. So for that reason, even Ratin Roy, even on the other day also I was talking about Ratin Roy, I am very much impressed by his analysis in terms of, he talks about this. Because of the liberalization, privatization and globalization, we all, the educated middle class, were able to have good incomes, we spent. But whereas there are many other sections of the population who are unable to spend more, who are unable to improve their living conditions. For that reason, this much of inequality is not at all bearable for the country, and it is not advisable. If at all, if these inequalities exist, there are so many social issues because of that, and at the same time, even the growth rate cannot be sustained. So for sustainable growth, equity is a must. Then coming to the inequities in our economy, I would like to put it in this format. All of us are very, very familiar. In India, we are more rural rather than urban. But we wish to be urban. We go to urban areas. I have migrated to urban area from Vijayawada. Of course, Vijayawada is also an urban area. But I migrated from Vijayawada to Hyderabad for better fortune, for better prospects and all that. And all of us must have had our, base in rural area. But we have migrated to the urban areas because the urban incomes are better. Urban work opportunities, employment opportunities are better. Even many people even now migrate from rural area to urban area and they settle in slums. As we are educated, we are living in a decent condition in the urban area, but whereas there are so many people living in slums just for the sake of that reasonable income. That means it's the push factor which is pushing the rural population to the urban areas. It's not the pull factor of the urban area, but the push factor of rural. Okay, push or pull, whatever it is, people would like to come to urban area because incomes are better. As you all know, in India, we have around 65% of the population is settled in rural area, but their contribution from agriculture is around 15-16%. I'm not talking more about the data. It's not impossible to get the data. It's very much available. But even then, I wanted to concentrate more on the concept rather than the data. Data, we will get it later. And I'm talking about the rough figures. 65% of the population staying in rural areas contribute 15% of agriculture produce plus some MSMEs, rural industries. I'll be talking about even in the next slide. Then we have a division that is primary sector, tertiary sector, all those things are there, primary, secondary and tertiary. All of us know it very well. We would like to be in the service sector, not in the manufacturing, not in the industry, not in the primary sector. All of us have left agriculture long back. We are not even settling ourselves in the manufacturing sector. We wanted to be in the tertiary sector because the tertiary sector wages are better. That means they get a better price for their products and they provide better wages. So there are wage disparities, wage and price disparities across primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. So for that reason, we are moving towards tertiary sector in the sense the wages are very, very low for the primary sector. Sometimes I really feel without the primary products, agriculture, food, milk, eggs, whatever it is, the living itself is very, very difficult for me. But why am I unable to be ready to pay more for the agriculture products? Why should all the time agriculture products prices are very, very low? When I was listening to one lecture by Amul's CEO and even Ratin Roy, maybe some of the times, what they were talking about is to make the living of the poor better off. All the time, government is intervening in stabilizing the prices, in reducing the prices of agriculture commodities. For that reason, the agriculture sector did not benefit much in the growth process. All the time there is a price control on agriculture commodities. In no other sector, the price controls are that heavy. Only for agriculture, the price controls are very, very heavy. It is to benefit the urban worker. Okay, for that reason, automatically, all the time, since many years, seriously, it's an emotional feeling for me. When I buy that Sitafal on the road, I feel that the fruit, what I enjoy very well, I am very much fond of that particular fruit, but the seller of that fruit, the condition of the seller of that fruit is not at all good. He'll be just asking me, requesting me to come and buy from him. His condition is that I should demand rather than he should ask me, invite me, otherwise negotiate with me to give. That means the condition of them is not improving over a period of time. Of course, there are some other reasons from their side too, but I feel that the price getting are not fair. Okay, then I'll be talking about this even in the next slide. And disparities in labor force participation rates, employment and wages. So labor force participation rates, men, they have a better work participation rate compared to women. Women are not, their work participation rates in India are very, very low. And now even unemployment rate is also very, very high. This is just some data related to world must have lost 11.2 crores of jobs because of the COVID. And whereas in India, 7.4 million people lost their jobs. And 8% was the unemployment rate. Even now it's around 7 and 8. Unemployment rate got reduced, they are saying. But there is another analysis saying that as people are not getting employment, they are withdrawing from the labor force. For that reason, the unemployment rate is it seems to be low, but actually unemployment rate is very high. You and me did not lose the jobs. Whoever are in the jobs in tertiary sector were able to sustain our jobs. But those who lost the jobs, we are unable to see because they are very, very petty enterprises. When they had loss for some time, for 6 months, maybe the existence itself is very, very difficult for them to continue. So maybe they must not have come back to work. Here, work in the sense, I'm not talking about the paid work, salaried work and all, even the self-employed people. So for that reason, it is becoming very difficult for them to come back to work. So this is a true data. I have to believe this particular data because small enterprises, when they had when they were hit hard by the COVID, even amongst not petty enterprise, they have crores of turnover. But due to the COVID, especially that particular man, whoever I am talking about, he deals with IRCTC, he deals with railways. He got a lot of losses. He is unable to come back to the business. Small things, he sold his properties and somehow managing. So micro and small enterprise sector was very much hit hard by the COVID. In the sense, when they die at one particular point of time, for them again to revive, it's a very, very difficult process. So similarly, organized and unorganized or formal and informal sectors, these are the reasons, these are the source of inequities. I hope I made you understand. The inequities come from rural, urban, rural at a lesser level, urban at a better level, primary, secondary at a lower level compared to the tertiary. Labor force participation rates are different for different people, and what type of employment they are into is also different. What type of wages they receive, whether they are under minimum wages or they receive less than minimum wages, all these things are the issues. Coming to the next slide. When I was looking at some important information related to what I wanted to present, I found this particular paper by, it's not a bigger research paper, but it's only into Financial Times, I believe. A.K. Padhi, he's the director of ICSSR, and Joshi, he's from IFPRI. Both of them wrote very, very well. That is whatever I wanted to talk about, some of them were there. Their title of the paper was Rural Revitalization, the Rural Road to 5 Trillion Economy. That means these authors are suggesting that through the rural way, because 65% of the population are in the rural areas. So it is the rural way we have for 5 trillion economy they talk about. Then rural revitalization should be driven by promoting agro industries and linkages between farm and non-farm sectors. So I have given the inputs, whatever they spoke about, and to achieve this target of 5 trillion economy by 24-25. And then they are talking about 9% real terms growth rate. We do not have that. Okay, many a time, even once I asked Professor Rangarajan when I was the participant in one of the seminars where he presented it, where he was the resource person at CES, Center for Economics and Social Studies. That is as per this input-output matrix, social accounting and all those things. Without 4% agriculture growth rate, achieving 9% growth rate is not at all possible. I read a few times. But whereas many a time, India doesn't get this target of 4% agriculture growth rate. So without 4% agriculture growth rate, achieving 9% is difficult. Without achieving 9% real growth rate, achieving 5 trillion economy is not possible. That means, for this reason, the authors are talking about rural revitalization, the rural road to 5 trillion economy. Even I agree with the authors. That is, without improving the rural area, without improving more than half of the population, how can we achieve equity? How can we achieve sustainable growth is my concept also. Rural economy contributes 25% to 30%. As I was talking to you, some around 15 to 16% is agriculture, from agriculture. The remaining is from small enterprises. Small in the sense, micro and micro enterprises, I mean to say. Okay, 35% of GDP. They accommodate 65% of the population. Then coming to what are the suggestions they are giving, I found these things very, very interesting. Growth in rural areas should be driven by agro-based industrialization. Even today, that industrialist from Maharashtra spoke about it. Whatever he is contributing to, Indian mechanization is very, very low. Indian agriculture mechanization is very, very low, so that the productivity can be improved and all that. So it talks about agro-based industrialization, clusters for specific commodities and appropriate supply chains, special economic zones for agriculture products. They talk about special economic zones for agriculture products, and collectivization of farmers through FPOs. Today again, that is when I was at NIRD, I was able to understand these things. Farmer producer organizations are being pushed like anything by NABARD. So though we failed with the cooperative movement post-independence, they are trying to bring the cooperative movement through FPOs. I consider it as old wine in a new bottle, that though we were unable to succeed with the cooperative societies, they are trying to push it through FPOs. Next slide, please. So MSMEs, even Siddhi Murthy sir was talking about it, very critical for rural industrialization. They provide some around 32% of the value added to the GDP. They give employment for 111 million workers, and their export share is around 48%, and government would like to push them through Mudra schemes, through Ujjami Aadhar, whatever they are talking about, they are trying. But my research related to MSMEs in the last few years, without formalizing, for that reason only one of the inequities also I put, and without formalizing the firms, they cannot access formal finance. And all of us even know that informal sector, the 92% of our workers are engaged in informal sector. And many of the petty businesses are not at all registered. When they are not registered, when they are not in the formal economy, getting a bank loan is a difficult task. They cannot, not difficult, it's not possible for them. It's not possible, it's impossible. Okay, so for that reason, for formalizing these small enterprises, small in the sense, the definition is different. Here I mean to small in the sense, I mean petty. Because MSME definitions, small is the biggest of all small enterprises. Micro, small and medium enterprises. Okay, I'm talking about the very, very petty enterprises. When I was talking to micro entrepreneurs, they said, Madam, don't use even the word micro. We are like, even I feel, my suggestion, even I wrote in that, they should be called as livelihood enterprises, not even micro enterprises, because they engage only 1 to 1.5 units of labor, family labor, not more than that. So even MSMEs, without pushing the MSMEs, without making MSMEs have a greater margin, without having agriculturists have a better price, it's very, very impossible for us to sustain the growth. That's what I feel. And at the same time, I wanted to bring in this particular thing to make you aware, to make you realize the situation. Many a time we see on the roads, petty businessmen taking heavy loads on their scooter or bike. I have seen many a time. Looking at them, I really get scared, because the glass thing, whatever they are taking on that scooter may fall. Otherwise, they may hit someone. So all such things, heavy loads they carry even on a scooter and a bike. That means if they engage an auto otherwise delivery auto for them. The margins are too low for them. For that reason, they do all these things on their own. They do each and every activity on their own, and they save a lot of expenditure. Because of that, they are able to give their product or service to us at that price. If they have, if they earmark for everything separately, even an AC mechanic comes to our home to just clean the AC. When we start AC every year again in the summer, we will call the AC mechanic to come and clean the AC, filters. Okay, he'll be taking 400 rupees just for a visit, just for the visit. Okay, so when we are going to formalize, the prices will be going up like this, but of course the decent work will also be available for the people. So I feel my topic that otherwise through my session, what I would like to indicate is that as educated, every one of us, we have to counsel people around us and make them understand that importance of formalizing their business. And then as customers, wherever possible, we have to give them a better price so that their businesses sustain. Because bigger things like Kingfisher or someone, anyhow they are pushing it on us only through taxes. But these are the ones who are getting not benefited and losing. So this is about MSMEs. Next slide, please. Even as Siddhi Murthy Garu was talking about, even I say these things. There are so many schemes available. They made available by the government of India. We need to see to that these schemes get penetrated. I just again talk about these schemes. PMJDY is Jan Dhan Yojana. Even in one of my article, at NIRDPR, I wrote this. One Jan Dhan is not at all sufficient for this particular country. In 2014, government had a drive that made everyone open a bank account. But now again, there are so many people joined the age groups of 18. That is, they have now eligible to take a bank account and they are in their adulthood. So they need to again get into the system. Even they need a bank account that should be again revived. Another Jan Dhan 2 has to come. PMJJBY, as sir was talking about, even my opinion is also very, very similar. Many of the students, many of the teachers, my colleagues, they do not know about PMJJBY, PMSBY. It's 320 rupees or 330 rupees, and another one is 12 rupees. With that, we get the insurance. Insurance is very necessary for all of us. Okay, so PMJJBY, PMSBY, then Atal Pension Yojana. Many a time I do not understand whether I'm in the formal sector or informal sector. Till 2 years back, I was at least getting my PF. NIRD, they do not even provide PF facility for their employees, consultants or that is, they may have for regular employees, but not for contract workers. Okay, so even in the government, when it is not providing, how can it ask the private sector to provide? So in the recent past, not even PF, that means no social security at all. So when we retire, of course, maybe because of the family, we may have the social security, but otherwise working for this many years, not even one particular social security scheme. So in this place, this Atal Pension Yojana comes. Of course, it gives only a pension of 5,000 rupees. May not be sufficient for you and me, but even then, nothing wrong in applying for Atal Pension Yojana. Okay, so it gives a pension of 5,000 rupees. When I was doing the field work in Andhra Pradesh, they were asking, why do we need Atal Pension Yojana when, government after the government, when they are increasing the old age pension without doing anything, when they are getting the old age pension increase from 2,000 to something, 1,000 to 2,000, 200 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, something like that. It's better to have that particular one rather than paying and getting the pension. So even governments have to look into that. When you give something free, you are discouraging others to have a social security for themselves. So even in Telangana, some other scheme. They said they have scrapped the scheme after the new government came. After Rajsekhar Reddy's government is lost and TRS government has come, they have cancelled some of the schemes. So now they are not ready to put in money into the new schemes. So it's about APY. Then even Murthy was talking about PM Swanidhi in Hyderabad. In the vicinity wherever I spoke about, people have more Paytms, digital payments and all. They were able to get benefited from PM Swanidhi. I think to some extent it was because even there is one organization called Srinidhi where I did some research on. They are the partners. If at all, if it's only the nationalized commercial banks, they must have not pushed PM Swanidhi, as there are some agencies like Srinidhi in Telangana. PM Swanidhi got penetrated. Then is PM Jan Arogya Yojana. It's health insurance. Everyone should have that. Okay, so wherever possible, let us as teachers, as educated with our students, see to that these schemes of the government of India get penetrated across the population, so that there is some social security for all the population. We educate them in the financial front. Then we have e-Shram registration. Ask people around you who are into informal sector to register themselves in the e-Shram registration. It's very, very simple. Every one of us have now Aadhaar card, even those informal workers. It's very easy to register this. With this, automatically for the first year, PM SBY is done. The 12 rupees one. Okay, then ask small enterprises, very petty enterprises, maybe a eatery, maybe a cane juice vendor, to do the Ujjam registration. That is, they will be self-declaring and they'll be saying that they are a very, very micro enterprise. So when they do this, they become formal. When they become formal, they can approach a bank and get the loans, and interest rates of the formal sector are much lower compared to the informal sector. So like that, they can have a higher margin for their business. Next one, please. I think next one is thank you only. Yes.
Ma'am, any conclusion is there, or you finished your work?
That's what. Those schemes, penetrate those schemes among the population. And I'm looking CSN Raju's
Yes.
guidance in terms of how to make it a research one, how to identify inequities, how do we measure that inequities and reduced growth increases like this. There is an inverse relationship between these two, no? Reduced inequities will result in higher growth rates. Can we prove that? Sir. Sir, unmute, sir.
Kindly unmute your mic and speak, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhavani and Dr. Josephine. I am. You have put me at a tough task of having to answer about the inequalities. Though it is not my area of studies, I am actually, when it comes to teaching, I am basically macroeconomics and money and banking. That was all the time I was teaching. And after I retired, I was doing mostly in entrepreneurship, World Trade Organization, and international business. The subject of economic development I taught you in 80s and 90s. Right now, actually, development economics itself has taken a backseat. That's what I feel. But with regard to overall message that you have given, that the path to 2 trillion economy is difficult unless you solve the problem of inequalities. And
sir, do you agree?
Yeah, let me come to rational thinking. What is that actually if you look at the Lorenz curve analysis and inequalities, as economic development takes place, inequalities actually increase. And that means Lorenz curve shifts downwards on a diagram, right? And theoretically, some people presented that as economic growth takes place, inequalities will decline. They go together. But there is a trade-off. That is what the data shows. Even though the incomes of the poor people or people living below poverty line or middle class have increased. Yesterday, professor was mentioning about how the oligarchs in India have amassed so much amount of wealth. Their incomes increased by thousands of times. The salary I got in 1975 as a lecturer was 576. Today you want to get even one time sweep for 1 month for 500 rupees. So the thing is, the money incomes have increased. Along with that, the standard of living has increased. Right? This particular standard of living rise was identified by Jayalalitha, and she went on giving televisions and other things, consumer durables to Tamilians in Tamil Nadu. Actually, this is a logic of Jayalalitha at that time, that since they cannot develop themselves, the state has to interfere and instead of giving cash, give them goods that will enhance their standard of living. So that is how it went. But overall scenario is in pure development economics and macroeconomics. Economic development and growth actually lead to an increase in inequality. And how to reduce that? How to reduce that only we as researchers have to identify and do. You have listed a number of programs, right? Without actually mentioning about the merits of these programs. Very nice. It's very nice presentation for a student preparing for Union Public Service Commission exams. Very good presentation. With regard to inequalities, once again, inequalities in income or inequalities in consumption. You were talking also about consumption function. You remember now there is one prominent American economist, Rogoff, who talks about non-linear consumption function at the height of increasing money incomes and inflation, and also heterogeneity of consumption of the same good. If you look at carefully the consumption of rice or consumption of wheat, as per the National Institute of Nutrition, very much in Secunderabad, the consumption of rice by upper middle class and middle class has come down. Same is the case with wheat. So they are eating something else. Let us not probe into that, all the millets and all this. So even though our consumer price index gives some weight or so-called weightage to rice or wheat in the construction of a consumer price index, that is not uniform. The impact of price and the price elasticity of demand for wheat or rice for below poverty line man, poor man, for middle class, upper middle. So the consumption is not uniform. So non-linear. If you try to construct a consumption function for rice, specific good, then it is non-linear. And overall consumption function for the sake of macroeconomic purposes and also for purposes of budgetary allocations and other things. They take overall consumption of rice or wheat and give them weight, and still whatever is the weight given to the food grains in among the 400 items meant for construction of consumer price index, and about 200 commodities meant for measurement of wholesale price index, have not changed. The price fluctuations are enormous. The weight given to petrol, for example, has not changed. The prices have increased enormously. So these are the things which if I am in probably active like you, in pursuit of excellence and knowing the truth, I appreciate you. You have your persistence to know. As a student, I used to appreciate you for that reason. Your deep perseverance and persistence to know what is what. Because Dr. Josephine, I may be taking some extra time to tell about this point about Dr. Bhavani, because as a student,
Please, sir.
he found fault with the national income topic in microeconomics. In national income analysis, the first topic in the whole syllabus, she used to argue with me that this is not correct. Your national income accounting is not correct. And once she was given an opportunity to write for Nagarjuna University distance education, if you look at it, nowhere else the chapter on national income accounting is like how it is in Nagarjuna University distance education workbook. That is real accounting, what she has mentioned. So, that kind of perseverance and persistence I don't have at this time to know why this discrepancy about equity and economic growth. Economic growth is increasing and equity is also increasing. Money incomes are increasing, or money wages are increasing, but inequalities are increasing. Just as I say, how I compared my salary about 50 years back and the salary of a housemaid today, right? At that point, I can't say much with you except pointing out that it is very good topic you have chosen, and considering the heterogeneity of population, again, the population who are within that age group of 15 to 64, through which we are getting that population dividend, and their behavior, their consumption habits, probably we have to definitely evolve a new consumption function to different classes of society. Otherwise, we may not be able to come to a definite conclusion, Dr. Bhavani, about why this discrepancy. And I also appreciate you for your emphasis on rural revitalization. Yeah, that is an excellent thing that should be taken for research to make these programs meaningful. With regard to Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath as a means to achieve 5 trillion economy, that is highly controversial. It is highly controversial. However, to make some of the programs that are announced in Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath, you said that there is need for penetration of these programs. These programs are very difficult to understand, first, for common man who wants to take a chance in entering into this program. And the other thing is how to actually manage it. Even for registration, it is very difficult. Jan Dhan Yojana, for example, I have personal experience. We wanted to enroll our maid to Jan Dhan Yojana. So what we did, she doesn't have anything. She doesn't even have Aadhaar card. She doesn't have bank account. How can she get? So I took her along with my wife to a bank, and first we tried to open a bank account. And it was so difficult. At that time, State Bank of India has no zero balance account. The State Bank said you have to shell down 2,000 rupees to open an account. So this one just small example to say that these programs are very difficult to penetrate. and sometimes wonder whether they are meant for some people exclusively. These doubts definitely come. And then you said a wonderful point about the revival of Jan Dhan, because there is a population transfer. Already it is something like 6 or 7 years. Whoever is 12 years old, when it was started, now becomes 18, it becomes eligible, right? And then there is a massive inflation. Yeah, and the amount has to be increased. And I see that already there is a lot of cry from the beneficiaries that this is not sufficient. These are the issues very nicely you have presented. I have no, I think, much to say about inequalities and as a researcher, because I am not in it. Yeah, if you ask me something about liquidity adjustment program or capital revitalization, probably I can say something about the impact of repo rate or reverse repo rate, the difference at the bank rate, what is that they have recently done. Probably I can, but with regard to this development economics aspect, you know better than me. Thank you very much. But excellent, very nice presentation.
But sir, definitely your whatever you spoke about from my presentation also, I was able to get few of the things we will discuss. We want you to be with us, supporting us, guiding us to identify the variables from the macro, otherwise from various concepts, otherwise variables, to pinpoint, otherwise to land on, I'm not getting the exact word, in terms of to identifying the correct variables. We will try to do something, sir.
Thank you.
Please help us.
Yeah. Give me a little break, I will come back.
Sir, only for 5 minutes, vote of thanks only. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Just I want to tell you one thing. Morning, one of the engineering students, she presented her PPT in one new app. In the break, I learned that. I wanted to show you. Is it okay, ma'am? This is one Freezy app. So it was showing about PPT, how we can present, ma'am. So it was just showing like this. So if we can write here, we will get it. So we can go back. Then we can adjust. I wrote here ICSSR's grand seminar. Just I learned in the break from 1:15 to 1:45 to this only. So I clicked this. I got timeline here. In that I mentioned few points. Then here, if you want to write, yes, I extended this one. I got the about the resource persons. Then I will go back to home. Then here you can see I wrote invitation here. So it is a one Freezy app which I learned from this IIT engineering student who presented her PPT in the morning session. So strategy we have to write here. So if I wrote anything here, it will be displayed. So I am able to do only 2-3 things only, ma'am. Just I am showing that invitation. If anything we can write objective here. If nothing is there, I'll go back. Then I'll come this way. Yes. Diamond Jubilee year. Stella established here in 1962. Strategy 26th May 2020. It's a trial, ma'am. It's a trial. I learned just within 15 to 20 minutes. So whatever I can put, I just added here. This one, like this. Just I took numbers of few pics only. So when we are presenting our papers, this is another method of presentation of papers like that. So when engineering girl, when she is presenting, just I was, and I look at that, I got an idea. Why can't we learn that one? As she is presenting all those things, it touched me. So I thought better next time onwards when you go for that, we'll also learn some new things. So just I wanted to show principles also here. So she was explaining and telling about the concepts. So we also can write our concepts here and we also can show. Like this, just a few things I'm able to put it here. So I will highlight this one and now I'll propose vote of thanks. So I'll keep this one, ma'am, so that we can have a idea about that. On behalf of management, IQAC and Department of Economics of Stella College, Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh, I deem it my privilege to thank each and every one of you to this August gathering. We express our deep sense of gratitude to ICSSR SRC grant for their financial support to conduct 3-day virtual national conference towards Aaatma Nirbhar Bharath, realization of 5 trillion economy. We thank our highly erudite resource persons on this 3-day session. I thank Professor K. Nageshwar Garu from Osmania University, who delivered keynote address, and later our Professor C.S.N. Raju Garu, Emeritus Professor, retired Professor from Acharya Nagarjuna University, Dean of Social Sciences, Research Coordinator. Then we have Dr. K. Bhanu Prakash Garu, Professor, Raffles University. Then later we have Dr. K. Nagasundari, Director and Head Department of Stella College. And the second day we have Dr. Rohit Rajwal from Agra, Dayal Bagh Educational Institute, and Mr. Sanjay Banka, Executive Chairman, Banka Bailu Limited. And in the afternoon session, our beloved sir, whenever I ask him, sir will always, sir, he himself only will come forward, said Josephine, I will do one paper presentation. I will be in the session and I will write a report, and I will see to that it will be published in Southern Economist also. I Satyasudaran Garu, Dr. I Satyasudaran Garu, the guru of economic people in Andhra Pradesh. Then we have Professor A. Chandramohan Garu from the Central University of Tamil Nadu, Tiruvarur. And today in the morning session we have Mr. M. Balakrishna, Founder Aquaport RO Technologies, and on the second session, Mr. Amit S. Patkilkar, the President of Cluster MSME, Patsons Industries Private Limited, Akola, Maharashtra, and afternoon PSN Murthy Garu, retired Deputy General Manager, SIDBI, and finally Dr. A. Bhavani, Layala Academy, Secunderabad. I thank all of you for spending your time and sharing your valuable knowledge, and you just enlightened us and also ignited minds of the young researchers as well as the faculty and different people in our college and who attended the seminar. And I wholeheartedly thank our principal, Dr. Jacinta Quadras, who have been the strong pillar of support in conducting this conference. I sincerely thank IQAC Coordinator, Dean Planning and Communication, Vice Principals, Heads of the Departments, and staff of Stella College. I thank staff members who introduced our resource person to the gathering, though they have a very busy schedule. I thank Mrs. Shobha from Department of Economics, Mrs. Shanti Sri from English Department and Dean of Arts, Dr. P. Nitya Jeevaprada, Head Department of Zoology, Dr. Grace Lydia, Head Department of Computer Science, Dr. G. Malati from MBA Department, Ms. Josna Valentina, Head Department of Political Science, Ms. Beulah Falsananda, Head Department of History, Mr. Dr. K. Swarup Kumar from Department of Economics, Mrs. G. Usha Kumari, Head Department of Mathematics, Mrs. Padmaja, Department of Commerce, Mrs. Sudha Devi, Department of PG Mathematics, and Mrs. Sri Devi, Head Department of TTM. I thank all of them who accepted my plea and introduced all the resource person to this gathering. I would like to thank all the participants of various colleges and various institutions all over India for their active participation in the conference. I thank all the research scholars, faculties from different colleges, students from different institutions for their participation and presenting papers in the conference. I thank members of the Department of Economics, Department of IT, Stella College, and Administrative Department of Stella for their kind support. And I would like to mention special thanks to Bhavani ma'am, who helped me in getting all the resource persons, especially for the industry point of view, which is a very useful one. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. And I thank C.S.N. Raju sir. Whenever I spoke him to about the seminars, he's always ready. Sir, thank you so much. What can we say? Simply we can say thank you, but your knowledge we always enjoy, because Bhavani ma'am was the person who introduced C.S.N. Raju sir to Stella College. I won't forget that those days, 1993, 94, 95, when we are in PG students in Maristella. Ma'am is the person, she brought you to Maristella, she introduced to Maristella. Maybe we are not direct student to you, but I feel we are more than direct student to you, sir. And my special thanks to I. Satyasundaram, sir. Sir is always ready and very helpful. He was there from 9 to 4 every day, all the 3 days. Thank you so much for that. I thank Indira Kumari ma'am. Ma'am also joined and expressed her views yesterday. I thank Indira ma'am and even in the participants, Mr. Venkata Prasad. He was there from all the way morning. Then Mr. Govind is there. Arpan is always interested. Morning I'll get a message, a phone call from Arpan. What is the link, ma'am? When it is starting, ma'am? My paper slot, ma'am? How to present, ma'am? Is it okay? So I'll get from Arpan and everybody. And I thank Samuel Johnson, Professor of VAT Engineering, who really encouraged the students and send them to participate papers here. I thank one and all, and thank you so much. A big namaskarams to everybody, and special thanks to ICSSR SRC. Now we all will stand for national anthem. Over to you, Prasad Garu.
Josephin sir is about to say something.
1 minute, Prasad Garu, wait. Sir, please.
No, I just want to say thank you on my own behalf.
Thank you, sir.
I hope next time you will make it in actually happen in your college like before.
Yes, sir, definitely. Sivakumar, I missed you, sorry. Jamuna is also there. Ganapati is also there. All of you are there from all the Ratnamari madam from Eluru. Sorry, ma'am, Ratnamari madam from Eluru. All the 3 days from 9 to 4:15, all of them are there, sir. Really, thank you so much and namaste to everybody.
And I'm very happy to see Dr. Indira.
Yeah,
Indira,
I just wanted to say hello to you, sir, and Bhavani. And
Ma'am, she is a very reputed person as a teacher in the college, but also the research she conducted in university also was of high order.
I request all the participants
and she didn't pursue, that is it. Otherwise, I would say she would have produced some remarkable work because she is very persisting, and she was my senior in the university. She moved from Andhra University Postgraduate Center to Andhra University. Otherwise, she would have been in the same.
contemporaries we are.
Yes. Probably she would have been. Yeah, she was my contemporary. Yeah.
I request all the participants unmute your camera so that I can take a photograph. Ready, everybody? Shall I take?
Mr. Swaroop, you please call me once. I don't have your phone number.
Unmute, sir. Unmute your mic.
Yes, sir. I'll call you, sir. I'll call you, sir.
Thank
I
you.
somehow missed your phone number. Yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
sir.
I'll call you, sir.
I took the photo and now we are posting link in the chat box. So you will get your certificates after filling this link. 1 minute, just. Kindly fill this for feedback link so that you will get your certificates. And I request Prasad sir, kindly play the national anthem. And after that, we will close the session. Kindly stand up for the national, if possible.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, Anandal. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Raj Garu. Bhavani.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Nice meeting.
Thank you. Participants, kindly fill the feedback link.
Thanks.
Thank you all. Bye, Bhavani ma'am. See you in your seminar, in your ICSSR seminar.
Thank you, Dr. Bhavani. Thank you for the kind words.
Govind.